What is up, everyone? Welcome to another video. As you can see, I'm doing something a little different. I've tried filming this video already, and I realized that I had forgotten to say something at the beginning. So, I'm going to say it right now. If you have not seen Stranger Things Season 5, Part 1, go watch it, and then come back and watch this video. Because I am telling you now, there are spoiler warning for the first part. I'm filming this on December 3rd. Um so there are going to be spoilers for episodes 1 through 4 of season 5 of Stranger Things. So spoiler warning. This is your warning. Spoiler warning for Stranger Things season 5 episodes 1 through 4 because that's all that's come out. So that's your warning. Spoiler warning for Stranger Things Season 5, Episodes 1 through 4. There's your warning. But if you have seen it, I hope you enjoyed it, because I definitely did. I very much enjoyed these 4 episodes of this season. Let's talk about. I want to talk about Erica first, because I feel like she has the least amount to talk about. So we have so much time for all the other characters. Because Erica's only in like I think it's this one. It's not letting me highlight it, but this one right here. Season or season 5, episode 3. I think the episode 3 might be the only one that she's actually in. Because it's after. We'll talk about Holly also a lot in this one, but in this when I talk about this, but in this thing, but in in chapter 3, they do the whole thing with the trap and everything. We'll talk about that. But Erica's in it, and I like. So the one thing I did like that they did with Erica's character versus like, since Erica is younger than like everybody else, she also had, I don't know why. I really like that they did this, but there's like no like really evidence of it. Um, but Erica, she okay, so if you don't know who Erica is Lucas's younger sister. That teacher that they had, I forget the teacher's name, but the teacher that in the very very beginning of the show that the 4 boys had, and he was the one who got them the that like thing where they first intercepted the idea of the Demogorgon, and or not the Demogorgon. Was it Demogorgon? I can't remember. Where they first intercepted stuff. Like that teacher. Erica was in that class when Mike and Lucas like had her get out of class to help them with something. I don't know how they got out of class, but I think they might have graduated. I don't freaking know, bro. Um. Anyway, so Erica's in only this episode. We'll come back to what actually happens in the episode, but she doesn't do a lot with her character. They don't do a lot with her. Um, but yeah. So basically, okay, we'll talk about the episodes as we go through this. But I feel like I should talk about the episodes and so let's start with this first episode. Basically, the episode starts with kind of like it's a flashback to Will back in season 1, and it shows you basically what happened with him when he first was in the Upside Down, and what Vecna did to him. And the entire episode basically is all about them trying and doing this thing called the crawl, which basically they're gonna, one of them. Okay, this is a big thing though. Also about Hopper and 11. You know, the like father daughter thing. 11 thinks that she's ready. Hopper doesn't think she's ready because of a bunch of things that happened with like training and stuff that she did. But Hopper doesn't think she's ready. But Joyce is like running interference kind of, but also like trying to not like overstep. Oh, also, by the way, Will, Mike, Joyce, John, like, so, Mike, Will, Jonathan, Nancy, and Joyce, Karen, and, this doesn't have Holly on it. Holly, and then Ted, the dad. They're all, living together in a house. In Mike's house, in, the Wheeler house. They're all there together. Uh, and we'll talk more about that as we get. So basically, it's because they don't have a house, and they need a place to stay while they're in Hawkins, but they also need to be in Hawkins to help with everything. Anyway, I guess we can talk about. Let's talk about. I don't know who to talk about. Anyway, the whole show, this whole first like 4 episodes are basically about setting up everything for the story. So, and there's some payoff in like episode 3 and 4. There's a little bit in episode 2, and there's episode 1. Episode 1 is mostly just exposition, but you're kind of like you kind of know that's gonna happen because of everything. But I want to talk about. Should I talk about Holly now, or should I wait until a little bit later? I might wait for Holly for a little bit later on, and then we'll talk about Holly and everything. Okay. I will say in this, I love Dustin. He's one of my. Which Dustin? I love Dustin. He's one of my favorite characters, but he's. I understand, right? He's grieving, whatever, right? Like, I get that. He's grieving, he needs time, but, like, he doesn't have to be mean and, like, a jerk to literally everyone. Like, yeah, the bullies come and like, beat him up, but, yeah, that's not cool, but, like, he doesn't have to be such a jerk to, like, yeah, the bullies beat him up and or like are mean to him or whatever, but it's not like he's just being a jerk to them. He's being a jerk to Mike, Will, and Lucas along with the bullies. Like, yes, he's grieving, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. And yes, I get he's grieving, and yes, I get that Eddie's death from season 3 or 4. I mean, I get that Eddie's death had a way bigger impact on him than it did on anybody else in the group. I understand that. Obviously, all of that makes sense. Right? I get that. But he doesn't have to be such a jerk, especially to the other the three boys, Steve, and just everyone. By the way, in the first episode, Robin and Steve, they're running like a radio station now, out of absolutely pretty much nowhere. About like this whole everything that's happened in the first episode. And okay, and then Jonathan. Okay, so then Jonathan, I'm jumping characters like really quickly, and I get that, but there's a lot I had to get through in a short amount of time because I don't want this video to be like 3 hours long. So I have to like jump characters and keep things moving as I'm trying to explain this story to all of you. I have to jump characters for different things. Jonathan, for some reason, is no longer doing drugs, which doesn't like just that makes no sense because he was fully high for like most of season 4. He was high for most of season 4. He just is no longer doing drugs for some reason. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense, right? So that whole thing, and Nancy and Jonathan don't seem to be as in love as they were in previous seasons. And it makes sense, kind of, but that's a separate thing I'll talk about a little bit later on when I talk about Steve and Jonathan's relationship. When we get there, we'll talk about that. Is she even on this? Oh, there she is. Okay, I was like, is Nancy not on this? They're missing a few characters on here from season 5. What season is this? Is this first season 5? Yeah, is there more than one picture? No, there's just one. Okay, they're missing a good chunk of characters, but we'll deal with it. I think so. Jonathan's no longer doing that, and I think that's just like weird. That he's just like it's not even like he slowly weans off it. He's just like cold turkey all of a sudden, and just like back to being normal. And I'm like, well, as normal as he is. Anyway, meanwhile, while all of that, so while Steve and Nancy or Steve and Robin are doing their show, so everything is like just like chill, but they're still like trying to do things to make sure Vecna doesn't come back. But doing all of this, Mike's little sister Holly, who I should probably show you a picture of. So this is her this season. She's been in other seasons of this show as well, but she was much younger, and now she's supposed to be like 7 in this, which I'll talk about that also. Maybe not in this video, maybe in a different video, but this is her. Meanwhile, this girl is like, has like an imaginary friend who she calls Mr. What's It, and if you don't understand what the relevance of that is, if you've never read it, A Wrinkle in Time, I think it's Mrs. What's It, I think. Anyway, regardless, she has this like imaginary friend that only she can see and no one else can see, which is how imaginary friends work, right? She has this friend and she calls him Mr. What's It for whatever reason. And basically, he's warning her about monsters. We don't know who Mr. What's It is for like multiple, I think it's like 2 or 3 episodes. I think it's up, we don't know who it is up to like episode, close to the end of episode, or middle of episode 3, I think. I don't remember. Whatever. Regardless. So he's warning her about monsters, which doesn't make sense because she doesn't know a ton about like the Demogorgons and the Mind Flayer and just everything like that. She doesn't know enough about that to have an imaginary friend tell her about it. Which begs the question, who is this and why can no one else see them? We'll get to that. In a second. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about this thing between Steve and Jonathan. They are doing this thing where they are fighting over Nancy for no apparent reason. Like, obviously, they both want to be with her, but, like, there's no reason for them to be fighting because Nancy has made it abundantly clear she's no longer in love with Steve. But even in this season, like, she doesn't, like, really even, like, I don't know. There's a lot that goes on. Let's talk about Murray also for a second. So Murray is basically their supplier for the stuff that they need or want or whatever. Because he'll bring them like certain things that he could, like, I don't know, smuggle in and out of different things. And he brings them like different things that they ask him to bring for them that they need for whatever they're gonna do. And Murray like doesn't know like the plan, but he basically just supplies them with what he can and when he can get and get things and stuff like that. All right, let's talk about Karen because I don't know why she's on this and the father isn't, but so the mom, who Karen Wheeler, who's the mom of Nancy, Mike, and Holly, basically is talking to the dad, who's like not is just a weird character in general, but she basically talks to the dad about Holly and her imaginary friend and stuff, and is not happy about it. But she also gets like drunk in the middle of an episode where Holly runs into her room, and I think it's the I don't know who it is. I don't remember what that monster's called. I think it's Demogorgon, more of a human version, but whatever. Um. Anyway, she does this thing where so she's still drunk and also trying to save her daughter while the dad gets flung. So the dad eventually comes back. So the dad's in the backyard hitting golf balls for whatever reason. And they're all, like, everyone's all over the place for the crawl, which is what the Hopper's doing. But they're all also trying to not lose him when he's in the upside down doing whatever the heck he's doing. But they're all over the place. So they have to figure out a way to get back to the house. Nancy and Eleven are together trying to get back to the house, which, to be fair, there's a lot that's wrong with that. But if you want to know, then go watch the show. I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably have watched it at this point, but you know, the whole thing with Eleven with her hood, and that didn't really consider her identity, and then Hopper, and it's a lot. Anyway, I'm trying to summarize this so that I don't make this video super long, but anyway, okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking about the characters and just go through and tell you the story, and then we'll go back and focus on different characters. Basically, so here's the story. That scared me. There are pipes like in this closet right next to me, and they just started like working or whatever, and it kind of scared me. Working as in the sense that they're doing their job, and they always have been. They just don't always go out this way. Oh, it just scared me. Regardless, here's the story. So, it's been months now, or I think it's been years. I don't know. It's been a while since the last season came out, but also been a while. Been a little while. So Steven and as I said before, Steve and Robin are doing their whole thing, right? Um, their whole like radio station. And basically the radio station is a way for her to be able to connect with all of the everybody, all of the different teams all at once. So Joyce, Hopper, and 11 as one team, Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas as another team, and then obviously Steve and Robin as a separate team, and Nancy and Jonathan are just like kind of there. They aren't really part of a team. One of those teams, but anyway. So right, so they get this message from Robin, who is telling them this over the radio. So everyone in Hawkins that is listening knows, but only they know how to decipher what Robin's actually saying. And so there's this whole thing called the crawl, which basically they use the tunnels to get into the upside down. I don't remember exactly how that all works, but anyway, Hopper goes in the upside down. Dustin gets beat up to the beginning of the first episode by his bullies, and basically he's supposed to be there to help them, but he's not because he's like dying because the bullies gang up on him at Eddie's grave later on that day. And so Dustin's not there, so Steve and Jonathan, who have been fighting over Nancy for part of this episode, have to work together now to make sure, because Joyce won't let Will go anywhere for whatever reason. Also, there's a lot of stuff about Will and Robin talking about being gay in this. I'm not going to go over that because I still don't fully understand all of what they were talking about in that episode, or those parts, so we're not going to talk about all of that. But there's a lot that goes on with Will that we'll talk about as we get more and more into the story. Anyway, so Will wants to go help Steve because he helped Dustin build this thing. But Joyce doesn't want to let him out because of what happened. 4 years. It's been like 4 years now since that happened. And she's still like a little wary, which I understand, but like you gotta let your kid do something. Anyway, so they lose Hopper completely in the Upside Down. Meanwhile, right, we're trying to figure out who Mr. Watson is. And we figure out late, we'll get to that. Oh my god, there's so much. Anyway, so during that, the Wheeler, so basically they have this whole thing called the crawl, right? And everyone's supposed to be there. Dustin, Will, Lucas, Mike. And basically everyone's supposed to be there. And they devise this whole plan, right? In the middle of all of this scene between Mike and his sister happened. This is one of my favorite scenes throughout the entire season. It might be one of my favorite scenes throughout the entire show. Because it's such a sweet scene between the two. Such a sweet, sibling scene and everything like that. So basically in this scene, Mike is basically with her, and basically she's scared, and basically Mike tells her that he was saving this thing for her, but he's gonna give it to her now. He basically was gonna try to introduce her to D&D, and he had a whole character plan for her, and all this stuff. And it's such a good scene. I love this scene, even though it's not like, if you know me, you know I love action scenes way more than any other kind of scene. This is one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. Was the scene between the two of them. Oh, it was so sweet. It was so sweet. I love that scene. Anyway, so everything with the crawl happens, right? They have to get back to the Wheeler house because Holly's about to go missing. Which they figure out. I forget how they figure all that out. But they figure it out. The mom tries to protect Holly by smashing a wine bottle and stabbing the Demogorgon, who cuts her throat, essentially, and takes Holly. And 11 and Nancy get there. Holly's already gone. The Demogorgon apparently can just make portals wherever they want. And so Nancy tells 11 to go into the Upside Down to find Holly, while she calls the ambulance to also get help. And okay, so they get the mom and dad to the hospital. None of them are allowed to go in with them. There's a lot that goes on between Mike and Nancy and Lucas doing all of this. Lucas is also talking to Max, who's in a hospital bed, alive, but still not awake. Doing all of that. Anyway, the dog takes Holly, who I don't really know all of what happens with Holly. How she gets to Mr. What's It, who turns out, we figure out a little bit later on, is Henry. If you know who Henry is, it's Vecna, same person. Henry Creel, I believe is his name, right? Let me look. Right, yeah, Henry Creel, Vecna. Henry is Mr. What's It. It's to Holly, it's Henry What's It for some reason. I don't know why he chose that, or why she chose that, or who chose it, or whatever, but whatever. Anyway, a lot happens doing all that. But now 11 is in the Upside Down where Hopper doesn't know she's there. Eventually, they find each other, have like a whole thing, and they do a lot of crap. I'm not going to explain because it's too much. Basically, throughout, okay, so I'm just gonna go through the last like 2 episodes and talk a little bit about them. So Holly's basically with Vecna for the last 2 episodes until she finds Max, who for some reason is also in the same world as she is. It's like a memory, there's a whole memories thing and all this stuff. And Max basically has a plan, but she needs Holly to go back to Vecna. Which, as we all know, well, we all know that's not going to go well for anyone. But I think this video is getting kind of long, so this video might be a little bit longer than I originally intended it for it to be. But there's a lot to talk about. I might do this in more than one part because there's so much to talk about. But Max has a plan, but we have zero clue what this plan is, as far as I can remember from when I watched it. But okay, so there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, but like behind like all the action. The stuff that you really, really need to know, I'm gonna tell you right now because this video is getting kind of long, and I feel like I should just tell you what you need to know so that you can, if you don't have time to watch it, then you can kind of know. So basically, to the end of episode 4, appear that Max has been in this world and just like living there, trying to figure out a way out. And she almost makes it, but the song ends too soon and she can't make it, and then she just run away from Vecna. We figure that Holly's in the same world as Max, meets up with Max, doesn't fully remember who she is, and basically she eventually starts to trust Max again, and Max basically has a plan to get them out. That's the end of that storyline for this part of the season. Obviously, that's not the end of their storyline. It's not the end of the story, obviously, but that's the end of their storyline for this season. The end of the storyline for everybody else is they're all getting ready to figure out how to get Hopper and 11 out of the Upside Down, because they're still stuck there. Along with now Nancy, Steve, Dustin, and Jonathan. They're all stuck in the Upside Down because when the Demodog came to take another kid, which is a big thing, that these kids are being taken. That's the big idea of this season, basically. That the kids are being taken. When the Demodog comes to take a different kid, they just drive through the portal with the car, and eventually they follow the Demodog on its home turf. And basically they're now also stuck in the Upside Down. They can't get out. So they have to find 11 and Hopper, who, by the way, actually we'll get to 11 and Hopper in a second. But, so they're stuck now, and they're trying to figure out how to get to 11 and Hopper so that they can all get out together. unbeknownst to them, Hopper and Eleven found 8, who we found out about in, I think, season 1 or 2, and they find 8 all of a sudden in this like military base, in the Upside Down. Meanwhile, on the surface, Mike, Joyce, Will, Nancy, Nancy's in the Upside Down. Who else is in this season? Meanwhile, Mike, Will, Lucas, Joyce, Robin, and Murray, I think, are... Murray's not really there for this, but it's supposed to be others. And Mike is like leading these kids, trying to get them out without dying to Demodogs. And someone said this, and it was kind of a good point that like, hey, the Demodogs get like a massive buff all of a sudden. Like, she shoots it with a shotgun, and it like hurts it, but later on, it can handle like multiple shots from machine guns, which is just weird. But anyway, there's a whole big attack on this base because that's where all the kids are. And so they take all of these kids, 12 of them to be exact. There's a ton of kids there, but the Demodogs decide that there's only 12 of them that they need to get. And so they get those kids. And Vecna, so Vecna comes out of a portal, right? And he goes over to Will and is like, you showed me what was possible when I took you first. You showed me what was possible, because he basically broke Will, as a child, as when he was like 12, and so he's like, you showed me what was possible and how easy it was to break kids and whatever. And basically, Will, as someone else says, aura farms at the end, and basically has powers like 11 and can like do things with his mind across Hawkins. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch the show because it's insane. He stops 3 Demogorgons. One that's about to kill Lucas, one that's about to kill Mike, and one that's about to kill Robin. And he snaps them all and just destroys and it's, oh my god, it's amazing. It's again one of my favorite scenes. That is also one of my favorite scenes. I think my other favorite scene from this season is Will and Joyce have a talk. Because Will was kind of a jerk to her earlier in that episode. And they basically make up, and I love their relationship and everything. So that's the end of their storyline up on top of Hawkins. I talked about 8 with them, and I talked about them. And there's a whole wall thing that they're trying to figure out why there's a wall and how to get through it because they can't. And basically, Steve runs into the wall with the car. Dustin figures out that the whole thing is a circle. And that's essentially it, I think. That's pretty much all you need to know. There's a lot of other things. If this video gets a lot of, views, if this video gets a lot of support, I will make another video on this before the next Stranger Things comes out. But this video has to do well. But yeah, that's essentially all you have to know about the story. So to recap, Max has a plan that requires Holly to go back to Vecna's house. Will has powers apparently and can save everyone now, and so they have to figure out the repercussions of that. Meanwhile, Nancy, Steve, Dustin, and Jonathan are in the Upside Down with Hopper and 11, who find 8, but 11 and Hopper are not with the other group. They have to figure out a way to get to both groups without going through the wall because they can't figure that out. There's a lot of other stuff that happens. If you want me to make another video, I will. But this video is already super long, and I don't want to make this video any longer than it has to be. So, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe. Tell me if you want another video. Tell me what else you want to see me do. I love you all. I'll see you all in the next video. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. I'll see you all in the next video.